The Washington Commanders have officially been bit by the injury bug. They've also released the player and signed a new player. Let's talk about it.
I feel blessed. What I want.
Get back slow. I love the way she rockin' it. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she clap her hips, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident. I love the way she move it.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Gotti here. We another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here with the video where we're going to be talking about Washington Commanders injury, Washington Commanders hiring, and a Washington Commanders cutting. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so that we greatly appreciate if you can reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Let's get straight to it. All right, y'all. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, too. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers on there. It's free. Thank you. All right. So, Washington Commanders bit by the injury bug today as one of their tackles have been carted off. Alex Okingblue, a guy that's been around for a while now, has been carted off after suffering an injury during practice today. Now, at this current moment, I do not know the extent of the injury, but you can always just think when carts are coming out that it's the worst. But again, I hate assuming the worst. But again, when carts come out, that's all you can really do. So I'm hoping Alex Okingblue is okay. I'm hoping the best for his situation. But Alex Okingblue was a guy that was potentially fighting to make this roster as a backup tackle. Now you put Washington's perspective in it, and they're down Alex Okingblue. You don't know what's going on with Andrew Wiley. You have Mason Brooks filling in for today, and you have a healthy Brandon Coleman. Now, what do Washington do move forward? What do they do moving forward? Are they willing to just kind of stand pat? Hopefully one of these practice squad guys can maybe show something in the preseason to where they potentially make this roster. Is Trenton Scott going to be good enough to potentially make this roster in a higher backup capacity? Because remember last year he got some action too. Are you that confident in Brandon Coleman's ability? Cornelius Lucas, like you have roster spots filled, or that we assume, but you could always not be too comfortable when it comes to offensive line. You can never have too many offensive linemen. So again, I personally don't want to overreact because it is Alex Okingblue. But again, that is a one less body that could potentially help protect our quarterback moving forward if need be. So again, it sucks. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But again, once carts are involved, it is probably bad. Now, let's move to the player that got cut today before we move to the player that got signed today. So the Washington Commanders cut cornerback Christian Holmes. If that name is very familiar, it's a guy that was here for under Ron Rivera, and his rookie year, 7th round pick, he was really, really good, and a lot of people had high hopes for Christian Holmes. Not only was he really good as a backup corner, but he also was really good on special teams too. So he has an opportunity to go somewhere else and see if he could find work. Now, Sip is a guy that was kind of playing that slot role for us. That was kind of filling in when need be at times, but he's a guy that you could afford to lose, right? It's not like it's someone that needs to be here. But as someone commented on Twitter when I first saw that we released Christian Holmes, he said, okay, well, good luck to him, but another Ron Rivera guy is gone, and I can't disagree with that. Like I don't have nothing ill will against Sip, but make more room for Dan Quinn signing. So again, let's go ahead and wish Christian Holmes the best, but you had to go, my guy. And the reason why they cut him is because of this. They signed defensive tackle Taylor Stallworth, who formerly played for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, you're probably wondering, why did they sign another defensive tackle? You already got Jonathan Allen. You already got Deron Payne. You got Johnny Newton, you got John Ridgway. You got a lot of guys in that middle for Darian Mathis. Why did they do this? Well, they are really doing this really because of a camp body. That's all I can really see Stallworth being. I don't really see him making an impact on this roster. But I do think he is here, and Dan Quinn confirmed it, to be kind of that guy that could take reps until Johnny Newton is fully ready to go. They're still trying to work him in. They don't want to overwork him, as Dan Quinn said in his press conference today. So they're just moving slow with the process of Johnny Newton rather, Jerzon Newton. And that's what I think Stallworth was brought in for, because again, the defensive line, more specifically interior guys, are really loaded, really stacked. So I'm not really sure if Stallworth can make a roster spot. But again, you never know, right? You never know. Maybe for Darian Mathis, he doesn't show anything in the preseason. He doesn't have to guarantee to make this roster. So does John Ridgway. I think John Ridgway is going to make this roster though, just because of the connection that he has with Dan Quinn, how much shape he's got better in, and I do like John Ridgway. I think he has opportunity to be really good for us if it does present itself. So I definitely I'm excited for that. But again, Stallworth is somebody that I don't really expect much from. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about training camp today. As Jaden Daniels continued to have yet another day that was really good. Taylor Stallworth, going back to him as I just seen, he impressed a few days ago at tryouts, so now he gets the deal. But Jaden Daniels, he impressed. Continues to grow and continues to be really good there at training camp. So it's good that he is progressing. Dan Quinn says Johnny Newton won't be practicing today. Said that he'll be ramped back up over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And again, that's why I believe one Stallworth was brought in. Punt return watch is Zacchaeus Maggette, or Olamide Zacchaeus, sorry. Jahan Dotson, Kaz Allen, and Forbes and Sam were still. So Olamide Zacchaeus is back there. It seems like they're having a little bit of some different rotations. Jamison Crowder is a name that I haven't really heard that too often back there. I wonder what that means, right? I don't necessarily think OG have to make this roster. He's a guy that I just assumed was going to make this roster because he was short hands. But again, maybe Byron Pringle could show something that can help him make this roster, because a lot of people believe that that's the reason why he was re-signed, is because it wasn't a lot of being shown by the wide receiver room, the back end of the wide receiver room, and they know Byron Pringle can do multiple tasks in being a wide receiver for us, as he was last year, and also a returner. So maybe Pringle could carve out a role that way. But Olamide Zacchaeus, I believe in Philly, also showed some ability to be a special teams guy. So it's very interesting. Manuel Forbes with a few good reps in a 1v1 strong pass breakup on a fade to Dyami Brown. So I love seeing Forbes making progress again. Contrary to popular belief, I do not hate Emmanuel Forbes. I want Emmanuel Forbes to be really good. I just call it how it is. Moving on to the next note, we have some one-on-ones versus wide receiver and DBs. Davion Davis had the best catch of the drill with the grab over Caillou Blue Kelly near the end zone. Forbes had an impressive PBU against Brown, and Olamide Zacchaeus had another over-the-shoulder end zone catch. He's a guy, again, that was brought in during free agency that I slept under the rug, and I just thought, man, Olamide Zacchaeus, he was cool in Philly, but maybe he was really carried by Jalen Hurts in that offensive play calling. I don't really know how he's going to be in Washington, but continuing to hear his name in training camp, continue to see him quote unquote impress, got me to thinking maybe Olamide Zacchaeus can fill in the void of Curtis Samuel, and not specifically just being a slot guy, but he was our third weapon last year, and maybe Olamide Zacchaeus will be that for us this year. Moving on, says right tackle Andrew Wiley is not participating in full team drills, as I talked about that earlier. He's still dealing with the injury. Behind 11-11 works, Dan Quinn is working with Darian Mathis to just show him some technique stuff on his pass rush. That's the first time that I've heard that Darian Mathis name all camp. I swear. Darian Mathis is a guy that we spent a draft pick on a couple years ago, and he really hasn't panned out due to really injury. Not because he just sucks or is not talented. It's just injury. So hopefully with him being under the radar this year, that's good, because he meaning he's healthy. But Dan Quinn is teaching him how to pass rush, and I love to see it. Dyami Brown working on Benjamin St. Jude's, creating good separation on a dig route. Dyami, in my opinion, firmly intrigued for wide receiver 3 for right now. Has had a strong camp and has considerably been the third wide receiver in first team all camp. Now, here's the thing I would say about Dyami Brown. This is one thing that I've said about him a couple videos ago when I said he needs to have a breakout year if he wants to be around, because every single year, Dyami Brown has a strong camp. That's one thing you cannot take away from Dyami Brown, is that he is a hard worker and he knows how to practice and he's really good in camp. But when it comes to games, he never performs. Whether it's preseason, whether it's drop passes, whether it's not getting open, whether it's regular season where the quarterback and the play calling isn't in his favor, or he's not getting opportunities, or even when he gets opportunities, he's not making the best of them. Dyami Brown is a really good special teams guy. He was a deep threat guy that was supposed to come out of Chapel Hill, and he's never really been that outside of that Titans game. That Titans game was the only time where I seen Dyami Brown, and maybe a couple plays like the Giants game and stuff like that, the Eagles Monday night catch a couple years ago. Like, he's had flashes, but it's never been able to be put together. And I am putting most of that on coaching, but also Dyami Brown has to take a little bit of that blame too. So hopefully this is the year that 2 arrives. Moving on, you have Braden Daniels had been working with the third team left tackles. He's another thing that I meant that was brought up in the tackle position that I forgot to bring up. He was somebody that last year I thought could have made an opportunity, but he didn't make the roster. And this year he's working with the third team. So maybe Braden Daniels is still not developed. He had some raw tools coming out of college, so maybe they're still working with him, but we'll see moving forward. Davion Davis and Kaz Allen, first returners for the day. So that's interesting that Davion Davis's name is thrown in there. Kaz Allen's name has been in there all camp long as far as the returner goes. So I'm thinking maybe he has the first dibs, because last year we tried to hype him up. We tried to give him all the opportunities possible, and he just fumbled every opportunity, literally. So hopefully this year he has a year of experience under his belt, that maybe this is the time Kaz Allen could carve out that role as the kick returner / punt returner. Sam Cosmi wasn't at practice today. Amani Rogers with a nice catch from Mariota, a real riser last year before the Achilles injury. Rogers needs to show out in preseason to force his way onto the 53-man roster. Seems like a long shot after adding Ertz and Sennett, but that's why they play the games. Rogers would have a practice squad eligibility. So Amani Rogers, again, as we know, is a guy that's been around, and he has arguably the most athletic guy we have on this roster at the tight end position. And I do want him to make this roster, but as JP Finley just stated, with the additions of Zach Ertz, Ben Sennett, it's definitely going to be a tough climb for him. Then you got the Commanders are down 2 tackles, so Mason Brooks is filling in. And that was pretty much it from training camp today. So yet another recap down the books. It's already August 4th. The Washington Commanders are headed to New Jersey to have a joint practice with them coming up here shortly. And then we'll have our first preseason game, I want to say next Saturday. So it's very interesting, and things are getting really, really active. All right, y'all. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Please don't forget to use my promo code JuanGotti on SeatGeek to get $20 off your first purchase. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Peace.